Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Muay Thai Save Me. Right beside me, I have my business partner, Edwin Lopez. Smile, buddy. There it is. All right.
I've been working on that.
Hey.
Kind of hurt. A little sore right here, you know?
But we also have across from us is Martin Duarte.
Yay.
You might remember him from a previous episode. We wanted to invite him back on the show. A lot has happened since then. Martin, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, crew.
That's
doing great.
good.
I'm feeling good. I feel like, cloud nine, man. I mean, what else can I say? You know what I'm saying?
I love it.
Feel great.
It's great to have you back on the show with us. You know, it's great to have you hanging out with us. A lot has happened since the last time you were on our show.
Oh, yeah.
But before we tap into all that, this weekend, some crazy fights, guys.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I want to just start out, Martin, with one championship. You know, we love that organization. Yeah. We love watching it. Nong-O, Jonathan Haggerty. Wow.
Hit the heartstrings, that's for sure.
Yes.
You know me, I'm a big Nong-O Hama fan.
Yes.
I love that man. That's the Muay Thai god.
Yes.
But Jonathan Haggerty as well, I'm not going to discredit him. An amazing fighter from England, just solid guy, very explosive, very accurate. I have so much respect for him, and I feel like him going up in weight really helped him a lot. Just because he didn't have to cut, he didn't feel depleted. He looked really strong. You could see the shine in his eyes, you know what I'm saying, like that. Like they say, the eye of the tiger, right? So You saw that him coming out. He was just tunnel vision, focused, you know, just like how I felt when I fought. So I saw that, and I was just like, all right, this guy's coming in with game. He's not coming to play. He's not coming to show. He wants that belt. So, but an upset for sure, especially on the first round. I was hoping for at least second, maybe third, and a little more back and forth. But that minute and a half in, right?
Yeah.
Jeez, that fast?
Whoa.
Yeah, it was really fast. And,
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, I normally don't watch the fighter's entrance into the ring, but that night, I was joking with Martin earlier. I was like, I normally don't watch the day of, but I rushed home that night. I fast-forwarded all the way to that fight, and I watched the walk-in. And I love to watch, you know, the mindset of fighters, like how really focused are they just walking into the ring. You can tell a lot by a fighter, you know. And I remember seeing Jonathan Haggerty. He just looked very intensely focused that night, like really intensely focused. And then you look at Nong-O, and I noticed a very calm and just easy, like waving at the people. And I was kind of like, this is interesting. Like, I would have felt like there was a little bit more intenseness behind him, but and then, you know, the fight starts, and I see Jonathan Haggerty throw some leg kicks, and it kind of knocked Nong-O off balance, and I'm like, this is Nong-O taking him too lightly here,
Right?
You know, and then we all know what happened then.
Yeah. No, yeah. That I mean, and then him just Jonathan Haggerty coming in just firing with his hands. That's one thing I did not expect. Because Haggerty's known for, you know, that axe elbow coming in and just, you know, and then those push kicks to the face and then those body kicks. Like, he's very known for that. But for him to change up his game and realize, like, oh, no, I got to attack him with the hands.
Yeah.
He came forward, attacking the whole time. And I was just like, wow, just nonstop. And it's kind of like how Nong-O did the guy that he fought before Haggerty, Ramazanov.
Yeah.
He got him the same way that he got Ramazanov.
That's right.
Punching, catching him the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was just super intense. But seeing him face plant, I was just like,
yeah, it was.
No.
It was heartbreaking.
It's different if he fell on one knee or something. That would have been fine. But just that face plant was just.
Was it like a
hurt.
Manny Pacquiao when he got knocked out? Like, just boom.
Yes.
No shit.
Pure right on the nose. Just.
Yeah. It was really bad.
So let me ask you guys both, since both of you guys have fought, won and lost in your career and so far, and also in your past, what do you think? Do you think there was just like he just didn't take the guy serious? Do you think, from what you could see, you said from him coming in and all that, was it different the way his eyes looked and coming into the ring and his attitude, or what do you think happened?
Well,
is it just
me and Martin were definitely chatting about it a little bit earlier ago, and Martin had mentioned like watching his training videos, right? Martin, what were you saying again?
I was saying more like this time when I saw Nong-O training, I didn't see so much of like him gassing out his pad holder and really pushing him to the extreme. I saw more of him like a little more winded and not so like centered. And even when he was done doing like a combo on the pad, all of a sudden he'd like step back and that was not like him. Usually he's right back into it and he's focused, ready to see what's coming up next. And that's when I was like, okay, there's something strange going on there. Like, I don't know if it's a personal life thing or I don't know what it could be, or just the confidence booster, like, oh, well, I'm at the top, I don't need to be killing myself that much anymore. But, you know, when you're a champ, you know, I feel like you have this tremendous target on your head and you can't slack. Like, you can't. You got that belt. You got to know that people are coming. And he knows that. He was reigning champion for, 9 years, right?
Really?
Yeah. And the guy's just unstoppable. So that's why a lot of people got really shocked when this happened, because it was just like, dude, this dude would figure everybody out after the first round.
Yeah.
And just to see him just get totally demolished in the first round, a minute 30 in, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
So do you guys think, like, just every fighter has its day where it's just it comes to them?
Absolutely.
And with that saying that, the only person that I've ever heard that's had a winning streak which is Mayweather. You know what I mean? Like, how do you? I mean, obviously they're two different sports in a sense, but they're both out there fighting.
Same,
you know. But like, I guess my question to you would be like, you know how you said his training, you saw him differently. Did it hit you in the moment prior to the fight where you're like, he's training different? Or once you saw him get knocked out, everything kind of like...
Once I saw him get knocked out, everything kind of added up.
Got it.
Just because usually he's pretty good about his footwork, and I never seen him get cornered or be put up against the rope like that. And if he does get put up against the rope, his footwork's so good that he'll just get out really easily. But just to see him you saw like the state of panic where he didn't expect that. You know, you saw where he was like, especially when he really got caught with that hit, and then he was like, oh, all right. And then they did the count and see him stumble, and I was just like, oh, no. Like, right there it is. There it is. And it's either he shakes it off, and he was. Yeah. You saw him, he was like trying to hop back in, but it didn't balance out right away.
Yeah.
Got it.
You know,
I thought he was going to clinch up, too. I thought he was going to clinch him up.
I was expecting that, too.
He didn't try to clinch up, and I was like, man, this is a different Nong-O. And I think, I just think it could have just been he had the title for so long, maybe he just wasn't as hungry as Jonathan Haggerty was. That plays a huge role in how a fighter performs. He could have just taken Jonathan Haggerty too lightly. Like, man, I've beaten all these killers for that. Like, this guy's nothing. Ruttung has beaten him twice. You know, and maybe he just took him super light. But I always tell Martine, habits are what come out, and why I'm always on you guys. Like, I saw a bad habit in Nong-O when he threw his left, his hand dropped. And while this was happening, Jonathan Haggerty was shelled up. He was blocking intelligently. And then he threw a vicious right hook and just clocked Nong-O. And I was like, that looked like he had been practicing that, been drilling that a lot in camp. Because that came out very, fluid. Like, he had been working on that, and he got caught. And it's just funny, like I always tell you guys, right, what we do in training will come out during sparring, and what we do in sparring will come out in fighting. Absolutely. And it's always so important, and it's so important. Like, and then it makes me think back to Nong-O's training camp. Okay, was his coaches telling him stuff, and was he listening, or maybe he's like, yeah, I got this, guys. Right. I'm champ. It could be either or. And sometimes that happens to a fighter. They get a little bit egotistical. And I know because I've been there. So that's how I know this. Like, sometimes you get a little bit big-headed. You don't admit it, but you're a little big-headed. Like, oh, yeah, I got it. But you don't really got it. You know what I mean? And then that's your downfall.
Absolutely.
Which I think that goes into any industry, right? Yeah. Sports, business, anything. Like, feels great, this. I mean, that's why we stay hungry in this business, you know what I mean? And we continue to grow and push and develop and evolve and things like that, just for the simple fact that it doesn't matter other gyms. I mean, we see it all the time. We see gyms that, follow us and all this, and they start implementing things of what we're doing. They start putting it into their gyms, you know what I mean? And it's you can't not expect that. I mean, it's just part of the game. I mean, we admire other businesses and stuff like that, and, we might take here and things and twist it our own way because it's just part of business, right? You learn things from others. But I think that when you get too cocky and you say, hey, like, oh, we got it, or we have so many members, or we have the best trainers, or whatever it might be, we're good, like, and we stop evolving, I think there's always going to be somebody who's going to want to knock us down.
That's right.
You know, there's that old saying, like, you know, people think it's hard to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay on the top because now you got motherfuckers up there trying to kill you to kick you off up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And it's funny you said, because me and Martin were talking about that. Like, I respect both fighters too. Nong-O and Jonathan Haggerty, they're two of my favorite fighters to watch. They're so dynamic. And now it's like, okay, the torch has been passed to Jonathan Haggerty. Now I want to see him defend it 8 times against some killers. Now everyone's going to be looking at targeting Jonathan Haggerty now. Because everyone's still questioning his midsection.
Oh yeah, that's been highlighted. Like, that's the problem. Well, that's the bad part for Jonathan and Haggerty, is the fact that he's been highlighted that his core is not there. He can't take a body shot.
Is that how he's lost?
That's how he lost to Rotong twice.
Yeah. Oh,
and he's been exposed for it. You know, so but. You know, I feel like Jonathan Haggerty, when he meets someone that's just as explosive as him, like the guy that Nong-O fought before, Ramazanov.
Yes.
So Ramazanov is just like Jonathan Haggerty. They're explosive, not as super technical as Jonathan Haggerty, but he's just as explosive. He likes to go forward and likes to dance around a lot, move around a lot. He's a moving target. You can't really keep him there, but they both have the same weakness.
Got it.
A weak core.
So let me ask you that, guys, because I mean that's amazing, and we could jump. I wanted to jump into talk about Tank and Ryan from yesterday, and I heard a lot of people saying like, "Wait, what? Like, how did this happen, right?" And I know you were telling everybody in our table, like, you get a body shot and they hit you good, like, because people who don't know or have never fought, I have never, like, I don't know anything like that. I've never been in the ring like you guys, you know what I mean? So like, but like, can you go more into depth? Because people are like, what? How could he give up? Like, people are talking shit over the internet and saying this and that, and like...
Yeah, because it's funny, right? Martin, I'm sure you saw it as well.
Yeah.
Like, when in the 7th round, Davis gets Ryan Garcia with a good left body hook, but in some of the replay angles, it looks like it barely clipped him. And then, wait, like, some people were just talking smack, like, oh, wait a minute, like... Wait, did that really hurt him? Right? They were talking crap, and then I had to explain to some people, like, guys, you don't understand. Like, when you get hit with a body shot, you can't hide it. It hurts, and it just drops you. Like, you feel like you can't breathe, and everything just hurts inside. Right. You know what I mean? And then when they kind of replay it from different angles, then you really see the viciousness. It dug into it, like his rib area.
Oh, yeah.
And you could see he steps back. And you could tell in the initial impact, his right arm, his elbow goes close to his body, which naturally happens when you get hurt in the body. You naturally kind of bring your arm close to your body, and he steps back, and all of a sudden he just, and he drops, and then you see his face just grimace, and he's just down for the count. He can't make it. If you've never been hit with a body shot, trust me, it hurts, and it's hard to recover from. With a knockout, sometimes you get knocked down, you can kind of shake it off and get back up. They call it a flash knockdown. But with a body shot, it's hard to come back from a body shot. It really is.
I've actually experienced. So I've experienced with getting dropped with a body shot with a punch.
Okay.
And then I've experienced it getting dropped with a knee. So, and mind you, this is not like hard intentional. Is if you hit the right spot with the perfect technique, you can drop somebody very easily. The first person was Steve-O that dropped me with a body shot, and he caught me clean. Just caught me in that right perfect spot, not hit me hard or nothing, just caught me perfectly while I was exhaling on top of that. So it really dug in there. So when I dropped, I was just like, ugh. And it was a late reaction, just like how it was for Ryan Garcia. It was a late reaction. I didn't feel it until like literally 10 seconds later, and I was just like, all right, I got to drop. All right, I can't. And then the second time I felt that was with the knee. And mind you, it wasn't hard. We were in the clinch. I was clinching with this dude, and he did it so perfectly. His knee was pointed perfectly, and he got me right in that spot. Oh, man, I curled like a baby into a ball on the floor. And I was like, oh, my God, this is like the worst pain in the world. And it wasn't intentional.
Yeah.
It's just if you hit it in the right spot with the right technique, that spot right there is ruthless. I'd rather get knocked out, to be honest.
No shit.
Because that spot right there makes you look so weak when you get caught with it.
And it doesn't look like it.
It doesn't look like it, but it's definitely a ruthless hit.
Yeah.
It's very, like how you always tell us, you hit the body drops, the head goes with it, right?
Yeah.
But that spot right there is super intense. And it's a cringing feeling. Your whole body shuts down.
Do you think that has to do, like, if you see it coming, do you think you can prepare your body for it? Does that help, or?
I don't think Ryan Garcia really expected that body hook, because keep in mind, in the replay you see Ryan gets him with a good hook as well. Mm-hmm. He gets him with a right hook, and then while he's getting hit in the body, and then and Tank took that like a champ too. He took that on the jaw. I could have knocked him out. Yeah. But Tank, just his body shot did more damage, you know, and unfortunately Ryan just couldn't continue. But Martin, what were your thoughts on the Tank Davis? Like, what did you think going in? Like, who did you go for?
Well, I went for Tank. Obviously, the only reason why for Tank is because he's a strategic fighter.
Yes.
He is not your basic. Oh, this is my one power move, and I'm gonna use it over and over. No, he's a strategic fighter. He'll read his opponent, and he'll go straight for what he finds. He'll find your flaw, and he'll use it against you. And that's what he did. I mean, he got caught with that left hook. It didn't drop him. Yeah. He got caught with a right hook, didn't drop him. Yeah. And he continued, and he realized, wait a minute, let me close his range and catch his body. And you saw him chipping away little by little. Bing. Mm-hmm. Even when they were, caught up in the tie-up, he was still bop, bop, a little bit, and then pivot out, body shot, little chips away, little by little. Yeah. And then when he really got him with that one, it's just bing, he was done. Yeah, and I saw it coming. I saw it coming because, no offense to like Ryan Garcia, but Ryan Garcia's never fought like high caliber fighters like how Tank has.
Yeah.
Tank's his last fight was with Isaac Pitbull, and that dude's a monster.
Yes, that guy.
That dude's a monster. He's not something that you can just whatever. No, he's a beast. He's called a Pitbull for a reason. Yeah. And that's the dude that gave him the hardest challenge.
No
Tank
shit.
Davis.
How did that fight end?
Well, Tank won. Yeah. But
by what?
By decision.
Oh, okay.
But it was a great fight.
Yeah. But it was just fight. back and forth, and they were both very strategic with each other. But like that's where I feel like Ryan Garcia's just got all the hype from Instagram, social media, and all that, and pretty boys get that hype too. Pretty boy, you're a pretty boy. Oh, all the girls, what's up? They get the Google eyes. Yeah. And then
that used to happen to me. I used to get that a lot in high school. Google eyes.
Google eyes.
Yeah. That's for another podcast. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But really quick, because I think this is the perfect subject, and I've been saving this because since we found out you were coming back. Your last fight, you won. Congratulations!
Thank you.
We were so proud of you.
Thank you.
I was in your corner. It was exciting for me. It's been over 15 years since the last time I did a corner, with Neil. And going back to body shots and all that, your opponent, he was going with some, at least it looked like from my point of view, some hard knees to you, but it didn't seem like it affected you, and you kept going forward. Did they hurt?
One knee that he did get me with, I think it was in the second round. He got me with a flush knee. Like, it was perfect, like right in my sternum. It got me clean. And to be honest, like, he knocked half of my wind out right there.
Okay.
But I just stuck to the plan. And that was kind of my fault because I shifted over to southpaw and started jabbing with my right hand because I really wanted to catch him with a good, strong right. So I was just like, all right, I shifted over when I shouldn't have. And I still caught him with a good flush jab, but he caught me clean right there. And that's when I switched back, and I was like, all right, I got to be careful there. And I caught my breath. But, yeah, the guy, I mean, a lot of the knees were just slipping.
Okay.
They were hitting, like, the edges of my body and just slipping off. It wasn't so flush.
Okay.
But that one knee in the second round definitely just pop perfectly, like right in the sternum.
And I'm going to add to that. And the reason why a lot of the knees were slipping was because Martin was pressing in. So it messed up his aim too. Because a lot of times in the clinch, guys will just stay there. And guys that want a knee will just give them the targets to knee. But Martin was taught, like, this dude's a strong clincher. Let's close that gap in. Let's put your lead leg in between his legs. Let's close up that gap and push him up against the ropes. Yeah, and that's why Martin didn't get, and I'm glad the judges saw that because a lot of the knees were not landing clean. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad, that made me really happy that the judges saw that because that's huge. Sometimes judges don't see those little things. They see the guy knee and they're like, oh, but we had some good judges that night. We had some good judges.
The ref was kind of like, fuck.
Shit,
dude, he was on you, bro.
Me and Martin, we know, like, we respect the guy, but he's he's a lot.
Yeah.
He's a lot. I'm gonna say it nicely. He's a lot. And I knew it was going to be a long night from the very opening round. Martin comes in aggressively, and the guy grabs Martin in a clinch on the neck, and Martin literally just lifts him up off his feet, grabs his lower back, and pushes him into the ropes. This guy was literally elevated for a few moments until his back hit the ropes. And what does the ref do? Breaks it and tells Martin off for don't grab the lower back. And it's like, bro, do you not see that he grabbed the clinch and Martin's just that strong, picked him up by literally standing up straight. That's all Martin did. And that made me so frustrated just from the opening. I'm like, oh my gosh, ref, come on, dude.
I didn't even know I lifted him up. I didn't know.
Yeah.
I figured.
Did you see it in the video?
Yeah. I saw the video, and then I was like, oh, I did pick him up. I thought he was on his tippy toes, to be honest, because the dude was so much taller than me.
Tall.
So I didn't expect that I lifted him up. But I mean, I saw the video, and I was like, oh crap, I lifted that dude up. I really picked him up.
Yeah.
You know what was funny? Like when the doctor wanted to check on you, but he didn't know about your crazy eyes. You know what I mean? Your boogeyman eyes, and he was like, oh, I think there's something wrong with him. I'm like, nah, he goes into psycho mode like that. Let's just talk about that, bro. Do you know when that? Like, there's a look in you that we all see, and we're just like, you're just a different person, bro. Like, you're just a different person. It's like, you're in this zone. It reminds me of when I used to corner Neil, and, we'd be cool and everything, but as soon as he started, it was just like, you were there, but you weren't, I don't know,
it's
he could hear you.
It's a
switch,
that
and it was just crazy. And I see that in you, bro, and I was just like, damn, I see where the boogeyman comes from, you know what I mean? Because it's definitely that focus, I'm gonna kill the shit out of you, you know what I mean? And it's crazy, man.
It's something, buddy, it's something that I was reiterating to Martina and David leading up to that fight was you need to tap into that alter ego.
Yeah.
You are the boogeyman. You scare people. You don't run away from people. The boogeyman chases after people. They stalk them down, and they put fear into them. And that's why I was very proud to see that in Martin, because it showed he was reiterating what we have been drilling in camp all the whole time. Mm-hmm. You need to live, breathe that alter ego of the boogeyman, and that's what he was doing that night.
Yeah.
And going back to, because it has been a while, can you hear Neil when he's telling you what to do? Because there was a moment where I think you guys were clinching, and you went in Neil, and Neil told you to step into it between his legs so he wouldn't. Mm-hmm. And as soon as Neil said it, you did it right away.
Yeah.
And I just looked at Neil. I was like, oh shit, this shit works, dude. They can hear you because it's so loud. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny is before when he was telling me, before the fight started, he's like, well, you're the boogeyman, you're the boogeyman. So when he was telling me, scream it out, yell at me, tell me who you are, I was like, the boogeyman. And while he was telling me that, I was just telling myself in my head, program his voice. Program the voice. I want to only hear his voice. I don't care about the crowd. I don't care about anything else. Plus, I don't see anybody. When I'm in there, it's tunnel vision. So I'm just I just want to make sure I hear him out of everyone. So I just really tapped into that sense where I was like, all right, just really nullify just his voice. I want to be able to hear him right here in this corner. And I just realized where I'm at in the ring, and I'm just making sure I pay attention with my ear, and I'm like, all right. So when he said that, put your knee in between, I heard him loud and clear, and I was just like, yep, what?
Yeah, I saw that shit. It was instant.
Yeah.
I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And even though he told me when we were, going in between rounds, he told me to do that, but just hearing it one more time really was just ignited that, and made it happen. But going back to the look thing is just I don't need to acknowledge the rest of the world when I'm there.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm just there at that moment, what I need to do, how I need to do it, and how I need to execute. I feel like when some people, it works to be a crowd pleaser, and that's great if that works for you. For me, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
I can't see nobody. I don't even want to. If Natalie's in the crowd, I don't even want to see her.
Yeah.
I don't want to see anybody else. I don't want to see the crowd. I don't. I love that they're there to support me. Yes, 110%. Right. I appreciate it. But I am listening to this guy, and the only person I'm worried about is this guy, and then the guy across the way that I'm fighting, and that's it.
Yeah.
And even when he was talking to me in the corner, after the first round, I'm not looking at Crew. I'm looking at the dude. Mm. I'm keeping that mindset okay, I'm listening to Crew, and he's telling me, and I'm listening to him, but I'm looking across, and I'm watching him, and I'm just I'm coming back, bro, so be ready. Even though I was a little tired, but I'm coming.
Yeah.
I'm coming, so, but I still listen to him, so, but yeah.
In your previous fights, did you also were you able to hear him like tone everything out?
No.
Or was this the first time that you were like, I need to change it up and I need to make sure that I could hear him and all
Absolutely. This is the first time where I've actually like I tapped into all that, and like just him just telling me from my last fight, he's like, you shouldn't have lost that fight, you should have won. But it's just because I was more worried about what I wanted to do and get done instead of hearing him out. And I just put that in my head on replay. Just listen to my coach, listen to my coach, listen to my coach, listen to my coach. And that's just what I did. And, you know, from here on out, that's how it's going to be. Yeah. I don't want to worry about anything else. I don't care about what I'm good at. I'm going to listen to what he's giving me advice on, because he knows he sees what I don't see. And then also when I helped him corner David's fight, I realized where a coach sees everything. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, now I see why. So now I have even more faith in that because I see where he's coming from.
That's dope. And speaking of that, you have a fight coming up, another one, right?
Yeah, June 17th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same place too, Commerce Casino.
Commerce Casino.
When's that camp start?
I don't know, crew. Where we at?
It's gonna be in May.
There you go.
It's gonna be in May.
Yep.
Yeah. One thing, Martin, I want to tap into is you know, you've been a part of this gym for quite some time now. How has fighting helped you grow as a person?
A lot. My impulsiveness is gone. I'm not impulsive. Before I was one of those dudes, like, you look at me the wrong way, I'm in your face. And now I'm very passive. Not only that, also with kids, more understanding of people and what they're going through in life, and you know, and how they approach things, and just being able to advise people on a different outlook, you know. Fighting really lets out everything that I have inside, you know, pent up stuff, whatever. If it's good or bad, it don't matter. Just something to let out, you know. Right. And fighting's helped me tap into that. But I feel like also I've always been a warrior at heart, so it's just it's my alley. Yeah. It's where I'm at. Yeah. that's where I need to be.
Martin, I want you to tap into something for me too, okay? Because we've had this discussion. If people have tuned into your Fight Camp Season 2, we tapped into that episode, right? You know, we always say there's a lot of people that like to give their 2 cents, right? They like to criticize, right? You know, from your last fight, and then, you know, we took a year off from competing, and I said in the Fight Camp too, for some reason people thought like it was a comeback fight, and I kept telling people, this is not a comeback fight, guys. He's been putting in work. I told him I don't want him to fight because I want him to work on stuff. Then people were like, oh. But you know, people always want to say stuff, they want to criticize, right? When you would hear the criticism, the negative criticism that you would hear, this wasn't out of love. This was just out of envy, out of jealousy, you know what I mean? And just pure hate, just hating on you, right?
Right.
How did you handle that criticism moving into this past fight that you had? How did you handle that for a whole year? Yeah. You know, because I'm sure you caught word of people talking smack and stuff. How did you handle that?
You know, at first, I'm not gonna lie, it did rub me the wrong way. You know, at first it was like, damn, dude, like, you know, I was the first one to come out fighting out of here after your 3-year hiatus, you know, and I was just like, dude, I should be in there. I should be, like, you know, picking up my record, like, doing things, you know, making things happen. And, you know, everybody would be like, oh, well, you know, David's already had these many fights and you're over here still behind. And I'm like, you know, and it did bother me. It did. I'm not going to lie. And I'm a stand-up dude. I'll tell you straight to your face, it did. And, you know, and I was kind of being a little envious, but then I stood back and I thought about, like, just being a true fighter and a true warrior, you know, and you know, the conversation we had after my last fight, I was just like, wait, I don't want to go in blindly anymore. I want to go in and handle everything properly and not lose just by an inch. If I lose, I want to get knocked out. Yeah, I don't want to lose by just here you by a little bit. Yeah,
because that's what happened in the last fight.
And I realized that, and that's what pissed me off. And I was like, fuck this is not going to happen anymore. So I was just thinking about you and what you told me, and you're like, you know, Martin, like you have it in you. You have that warrior spirit, and you're a high competitor. You know what to do, and you're really coachable. You just need to tap back into that. And then I was just like, he's right. you know, because like you said, you get that high ego, you know, and it's true. I was a little bit on that high ego for a little bit, you know, because the fight before that, I beat the guy so simply, and it was like nothing.
Yeah.
And it kind of did touch me a little bit, and I was just like, oh, you know, and then when I looked into things, and I was just like, no, man, I can't be doing this no more. I got to be doing this right. So when people started coming at me, I was like, yeah, it's okay, but I'm working on myself right now. Coaching's helped me a lot. I've seen more things, more openings, more way of working on things and how to execute, you know, and I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
A lot of fighters look at it like, well, you're falling behind. Yeah, but...
It's like, but are you really falling behind?
Yeah, exactly. Are you really falling behind? Are you really growing if you continue to fight without getting better at your technique?
Exactly.
You might not be. And you might actually have more losses than you have wins. You know, and you don't want that, you know, so you want to make sure you come in properly.
Sometimes, you know, people, and I've said it to numerous people, Martin's probably heard me say it, not only to him, but other people, but sometimes people get impatient with me. They want to fight, and I'm like, no, you're not ready yet. And people are just like, man, all right, well, I'm just going to go somewhere else then. I'm going to go to another gym and fight. And then they don't consider that I do this out of care. I do this that I want them to go with the right tools, because when they go in there, they're fighting for their life. They're putting their health on the line for entertainment of others, you know, and people forget that. And it's like, I'm just trying to look out for my fighters. I want them to be the best representation of yourself when you go in there. How am I doing that if I just throw you in the fight when I know, dang it, dude, he could have easily won that fight. He wasn't listening to me. Why am I going to let him to fight again? So he can continue not listening to me and continue making the same mistakes or worse mistakes? Absolutely not. Not in my book. I'd rather have someone leave me and go fight somewhere else, you know, and it's people just forget that. You know, and I love that Martin, although he admits that he was kind of, man, but I love that you got back down to ground earth and realized, no, crew cares about me. He wants me to do well. And like I said, are they really growing if they keep actively fighting? Well, most of the time not. They're just continuing doing the same habits, the same bad habits, the same thing, not listening, not coachable, you know, but Martin... A lot of people told me, man, Cuneo, Martin looks so much better since his last fight. And I'm like, well, yeah, it wasn't a comeback fight. He was just putting in work. That's all it was. I'm proud of you for that, Martin.
Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Would you say that good coaches think like you, or how does that work? Do you think it's rare? Good fighters, right? Good fighters who are out there. Yeah. Do you think they kind of like take their fighters like that? How does that work? You know what I mean?
I think there are great coaches out there, and good coaches will get good results too. But I still, and I'm not knocking anyone for it, this is what I see, this is my personal view, but I see coaches that have fighters that have belts and stuff, but I see a lot of flaws, and I'm like, dude, why are you not correcting that? Why are you not correcting this? Because once they get up in the rankings, the better fighters are going to capitalize on those bad habits that they continue to do, and they just don't fix it. So, you know what I mean? It's just me, one of the compliments I've always gotten, Sanchai being one of them who complimented me, that they're just like, I've been complimented for I'm very technical. Even when I'm fighting someone who's wild and crazy, my form still stays very technical and smooth. They always just say, you're very smooth when you fight. And that's what I take into all my fighters. I want them to be the same. They might not necessarily fight the same style as me, but I want them to be very technical. I want them to see. I want them to be able to react smoothly.
Well, when I went to the Danny Bill seminar, that's one thing he complimented me on. He's just like, dude, your technique is great. Like, you have really good technique. And I told him, I was like, thanks to Crew Neil, you know, he really like emphasizes on those smallest little things. And, you know, you're right. I mean, Danny Bill, he's one of your favorites from the Golden Era. You know. And for those of you that don't know who Danny Bill is, and you're a Muay Thai practitioner, get on it. All right, please get on it, because you're not a real Muay Thai practitioner if you don't know any of the fighters from the Golden Era. Let's just put it like that. Yeah. You need to get on that. You know, Rod Tang, Nong-O, you know, all those people, are great. Yes, of course. But the Golden Era, superior to all.
So tapping into that, Crew Rex was the opposite of you, right? Crew Rex would throw you in all the fights. I remember, I mean, he would just throw anybody into a fight.
Yeah.
It was your first date and you wanted to fight, he'll throw you in a fight. I remember when I wanted to prepare for a fight, and I don't know if you were still there or if you remember, but I sparred with Justin. I remember Justin, Surfer Justin. And we went at it, and he didn't stop us. Like, he was like 2-something. I had 2 black eyes. My whole thigh was in it. I had a concussion. I went to the doctor, and like, he was just like, it's good. Like, you kept going, you know what I mean? And that was him. How did that? Because normally you gain from your mentors and you kind of pass it on to the next. What changed where you were like, I'm not going to be like him, even though it worked for me?
Okay, I love that question. It worked for me only because I was naturally gifted in fighting. My fight mind was very different from other kids my age. But I knew not everyone works like that. I teach my fighters how the way I wanted to be taught. I want to know all the little things. The reason why a lot of the little things that I teach my fighters like Martin, I had to learn on my own. I learned by watching guys like Danny Bill, Ramba, Somdet, M16. I watch guys like that, and I would be like, how do they do it? And I would just watch their feet. I would watch their movement and see how they would do it, and then I would practice on my own. Okay. That was literally how I do it. No lie. How I also learned was I would ask Kurex questions. I would be like, hey, Kurex, so this fighter here, can he do this? Can he do that? And he'd be like, oh, yeah, son. Yeah, absolutely. You could do that. Okay, cool. And then I would take mental notes and I would keep working on it. But he was never the type to be like, son, no, don't do that. In that moment, he'd be like, he wouldn't say it. He would just watch. And my mom would sometimes get into arguments with him because she'd be the one watching me, and then she'd be like, Neil, da-da-da-da. She would yell stuff out, and then she would say, hey, can he do this? Can he do that? And Craig would say, yeah. She was like, why don't you say something? And my mom would yell it out to me. Like, my mom and him would clash a lot when it came to me because she's like, dude, you're his, just tell him stuff. But it was because I was so just natural. He just got caught up just watching. So I told myself, okay, I need to coach my fighters to give them what I didn't get. I don't want Martin to learn on his own. I want me to be the one to teach him how to do it properly so he doesn't have to figure it out on his own, because it'll be much faster if I teach him how to do it.
Right. Which makes sense. Have you had fighters that you're like, these guys are, this person is just a natural, he has that ability, let's move, let's go, let's get you on a fight?
Absolutely.
And so I guess it just varies on the
individual. I always talk about the light bulb effect. Everyone's different. I never give up on anyone. I just know, Martin will take a certain time to click on something. He'll get the light bulb when he's ready for it to click. Another fighter will take X amount of time. It could be days, weeks, months, even years, until finally it's like, oh, shoot, light bulb. I get it now, crew. I get it. So I'm just patient with it. I always say my fighters are like a diamond. Mm-hmm. I'm the diamond cutter. It takes time to carve out a beautiful shaped diamond. Mm-hmm. And so it just takes time. It took us a year from his last fight to get him back in the ring again. But that's why you saw a much more improved Martin.
Yeah. All bullshit aside though, bro, it was a different individual that I saw up there. I'm not as skillful as Neo is. I've been around it for a long time with him, but totally different person, bro. I was just like, wow. I was with my mouth open like shit, dude. Yeah. And it was amazing because you just see anything else. Neo, obviously in our business relationship, there's certain things where lately, I told Neil, and all the team, and I'm like, there's just something that clicked in him in our business venture. There's just a different individual, Yeah. But we've been partners for 5 years, and it's just now it's a certain level that I've never seen, and I've been taught just to everybody, our mentors and everything. I'm just wow, I don't even remember this person. I'm just so proud of him. So it works out, and it's just it's been 5 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. Does that mean he's grown over the years? So have you? But there's just a moment where your coach or mentor or somebody sees you, or people who like they said talk shit, or were oh, we'll see what happens. Why has it been a year? Where you're just wow, it pays off. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think most people are not willing to put in the time and work and sacrifice because that shit gets to their head, and they're like, nah, forget it then. Or like he said, I'll go to another gym, you know what I mean? Things like that. But when you stick it through and you're just you know what I mean? And it's great in that moment when you won, but that emotions of everything that you've gone through in the last year to sharpen you to where you're at in that fight was just like, like, even though like you have people that are cheering there for you, your guys' relationship, because you guys know into depth of what you've gone through, is just phenomenal. You know what I mean?
A lot of people don't know, but they were just like, man, Crew, I've never seen you so fired up. Well, I was fired up because that was a big F you to all the people that were talking crap about him and me. It was a big F you to all those people. That's why I was like throwing my arm in the air, because it was just like, F you, all of you, F you. And then I looked at Martin and I was like, I picked him up because we have both gone through a lot. Martin has definitely gone a lot, and he doesn't give up. And that's what I love about you, Martin. You know? So it was a lot of emotion packed into that. And it was just so good to just get that unanimous win after a point deduction, too. That was ridiculous.
That's another one.
You know? I was just like, geez, this ref has it out for us tonight.
It was nasty. When that happened, I was just like, oh, shit.
Kim, Kim, why are you crying, Kim? Like, why are you crying? Why is she crying? She's over there crying. But you know what? I get it, because he was very, like, when we were talking, like, I know my buddy and his voice, and I know when he's in that zone, in that moment, and, like, he was, like, it was there, man. And, like, even with you, like, when that interview at the end, it was just like, man, like, I mean, because I've had my own milestones and everything, and it's just like that feeling to have is just so worth it. Because we all win certain championships in different aspects of life, but like just not giving up, especially when people talk shit, you know what I mean? Or people run their mouth. That's even the best, you know what I mean? Like Frank Sinatra said, the best revenge is massive success, you know? And it's like, that moment is just like, yeah, man. Like, you know what I mean? And it says that emotion that you feel with your team and people that love you. It's great, but you know what I mean? I don't know. It was amazing, man.
I felt the same, like how Crew felt. You know, we both went through it together with everybody that was talking crap about us. And, you know, we were just by ourselves at that time. It was just me and you coaching in here, and nobody else was there. And, you know, these people were talking crap about our style, our technique, the way that we would coach, and, you know, put us down, you know, and it started influencing our gym that way, you know, bringing that negative vibe in there. And we both felt it, and we both went through that rough patch together. And yeah, it was an emotional state, because it's just like, you know, everybody doubted us, doubted our style, doubted our way of being, our way of teaching. And
that's
there
right.
You go.
That's right.
But you know what's great is that no matter how you think about it, or in that moment where it pisses you off, or you're like, man, fuck you, whatever it might be, that you need that, because how do you gauge success? How do you gauge that win? You know, how do you gauge the difference of who you are as an individual? You know what I mean? Because if we look back and we think when we started and we said, hey, these are the dreams, like, we're beyond surpassed that and some, you know what I mean? But, dude, there was moments where we're like, fuck, I don't know, man. And a lot of them when we had on ourselves conversations, lonely nights, and like, you know, all this merchandise, like, just thinking about it, like, this is all your dream. This shit ain't my dream. You told me, like, hey, this is what I want to do. I've told you, this is your business. I'm just here as a co-pilot with you in a different format to take it to the next level. But this is you. This isn't me. You know what I mean? And it's just amazing, because hard work fucking pays off. Being coachable, being loyal, and just fucking moving forward, man. And I just want to say, man, congratulations, man, because you're an example to everybody, and it's not just fighters, you know what I mean? It's individuals like myself, like Kim, like Paul, like everybody that don't fucking give up, keep going. Because some people don't want to be fighters, but they want to lose weight, or they want to be, or they're going through like self-esteem issues, or whatever it might be, or like, you know, stress, or whatever it might be beyond. But like, sometimes you look at somebody and you're like, shit, I remember this person the way he was a year ago. Look at him now. Just don't give up. You know what I mean? And that's why we keep running this podcast, because people listen to it, people watch your stories, and they're just like, oh shit, I needed that.
No,
and you know what, Marty, I want to ask you a couple questions too, because I'm sure people that maybe do have aspirations of fighting, right? You know, number one, what is the toughest part of fight camp for you?
For me is probably the hardest part is weight cutting. That's about it. I feel like everything else, as long as I have you to always motivate me, I can push through the techniques, I can push through the training, I can push through everything else. But the cutting is like I'm still building a science for it, because I want to make sure that, like, you know, continuing with the company and with this gym, I want to be able to advise fighters in the future how to cut weight properly without feeling so depleted and destroyed.
How did you feel this time around?
I felt great.
Yeah, because I know you were telling me, you're like, Crew, I've never felt any better. I think I found something that works for me.
Yeah, and I felt good, and I had strength. I didn't feel weak. I still had speed, and you notice, my cardio just skyrocketed, and it's because the way I was eating was different. And I in every single fight that I've had, I've done different ways of eating, just to see what has worked best for me. And this one really like helped me out a lot. So, but everyone's different.
Yeah.
Not every body type is the same.
That's
That's what I tell a lot of people, even in the gym when they have weight goals and stuff like that. Don't compare yourself to the model on the magazine.
That's right.
That's not you. There's different body types, and you got to know which body type you are in order to attack your goals that you want to do. So, but yeah, definitely weight cutting.
Okay. And then what is do you have like an ultimate fight plan? Like, do you have anything that you would like to achieve, you know, with fighting? Is it something that you see yourself doing long term?
Yeah.
What are some of your goals?
I definitely, one of the local organizations want to get a belt from there, but I definitely want to get a green strap. Once I get a green strap.
And explain to the people what the green strap is. For those of them that are listening, what's a green strap? Do they buy that online? Like, what is a green strap?
They're like, what kind of gun is that?
It's a WBC title belt. So you have to, get to those rankings. And the way to get to those rankings is already being champion in an organization and then starting to get recognized more and more through the officials of the WBC. So like that, you can become a champion internationally.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's my main goal. I really want to reach that. And once I get that, then, whatever comes in line after that, then let's shoot for it.
All right.
This is good, man. Yeah. This is good. Well, I'll tell you one thing though, because I know we're about to close up. Like, this is definitely not the last time we're gonna have Martin on, as your career continues and you continue to grow as an individual, as a fighter, as a family man, and as part of the team. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we thank you once again for coming on board again and just telling your story, and then look forward to the next one. Right?
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
It's
June 17th, guys. June 17th.
Be ready, Commerce Casino.
Yes.
It don't matter who's there.
That's right. That's right. But guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Muay Thai Save Me. Guys, if you liked this episode, please subscribe to our channel, like, share to anyone that you think this might touch someone, and stay tuned for the next episode, okay? We'll see you guys then.
Take care.
Late.